fucking cold, bruv. I don't like wearing hats and beanies much, but sometimes it's cold. Shit, where do I begin? This was like 10 years ago. Oh, God. Give me a second. Let me just... Oh. Yeah, it's 2026, so this was like 10 years ago now. Man. This was sometime in May of 2016. I had just switched to a different doctor because I was like around 18 at this time. And the guy that I had, the GI, he just retired, and I had to switch to a new one. And so at this point, my health is pretty bad. For some context, I've had Crohn's most of my life, and that's what I've been dealing with. And around this point, I was frustrated with the medical industry, pharmaceuticals, all that jazz. And I really wanted something else to try. I didn't want to take drugs for the rest of my life, right? And so, for the past 9 months leading up to 2016, I was on CBD oil, which allowed me to not be on any drugs at all. But I've been on so many, you name it, methotrexate, Remicade, Imuran, the whole fucking 9 yards, and prednisone, obviously. So when I was going to my doctor's office in 2016, at this point, I had been on prednisone for like 2 weeks because I had a crazy flare-up, and I dropped down to 79 pounds. That's why I took the prednisone, and I'm glad I did. I was really scared too, but my godfather, basically, he convinced me to do it, and I did, and it saved my life. That's where I think pharmaceuticals can be life-saving when it's used as the last resort, right? But after that, it's just... anyway, I was walking into the doctor's office, and this GI doctor, and we were talking about my history and what the next steps are moving forward. And he was like, I don't know what else to tell you, but you need to get back on methotrexate. And I was looking at him with so much frustration. And my parents were right next to me. And I basically shouted at him. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something along the lines of like, this is bullshit. Like, really, that's like the best answer you have for me? Like, in my head, I'm just like, fuck you, man. And I just went to the corner of the room. It's a small room, when you go into a doctor's visit. And my parents tried to comfort me, and I was like honestly crying. I was just so frustrated. And I don't regret doing that. I think I just had to let it out. But what frustrates me to this day is this guy, this god in a way that I'm supposed to look up to just because he's a lab coat, he's getting paid 6 figures to be the expert and the best thing that he has to say to anyone that's dealing with Crohn's or IBS, like this GI, the best answer he has is that, oh, you're going to be on meds for the rest of your life? Like, really? Like, shame on you, man. Like, do some fucking research. Like, go out of your way to find a way to help these people that are actually dealing with chronic issues instead of just giving them pills. I'm not to say that, Remicade, methotrexate, all these things can't be life-saving. They definitely can. But it just saddens me that the medical industry is just so... that pharmaceuticals are at the forefront of it all when it should be at the last resort. And anyway, after that meeting, I was still on prednisone, and I made it my life's mission to figure out how the fuck can I not be on medication ever again, right? Unless it's an emergency, right? I have so much respect for ER doctors and for surgeons that do life-saving surgery. Like, that's a different story. My gripe is mainly with chronic issues and how they're treated through the medical system. But anyway... I was just researching like a mad scientist for 2 to 3 weeks. I was like, what can I do to figure out my shit? Like, I need to figure something out. And I came across some natural ways to fix my shit. I came across fasting and going on an elemental diet, which I don't know why my doctor did not recommend that to me. It has such a high success rate if it is implemented. It's just hard to do. For 2 weeks, I was on nothing but liquid protein shakes. And it was hard as fuck. But it was so much easier than being in pain, shitting out bloody red diarrhea, and being scared to leave my house and hang out with friends, worried that I'm going to be shitting my pants. I shit you not. There's a couple moments where I had to take an Uber to school, And while I was walking to my Uber, I literally shit my pants. And that was that year when my flare-up was that bad. It was fucking embarrassing. And I didn't want to deal with that ever again. I didn't want to really worry about having to care about what foods I'm going to eat at my friend's house, even though I still do because I think it's just good to, but I don't have to now, luckily, because I've taken care of myself. But yeah, anyway, so I did that for 2 weeks. I started getting better. I went back from 79 pounds to 105. Granted, I still was overweight, or underweight, not overweight. I've always been underweight. But holy shit, man, those shakes gave me my life back. I was able to do the things I wanted to do, and I started adding food slowly into my diet, like chicken, smashed banana, fruits, vegetables, and I was getting my life back. And to this day, I've emailed this doctor, this GI, every now and then, a couple years, just to sometimes I have a question, because I don't like to shut them off completely, Kaiser, the medical system, because sometimes I like hearing a third-party opinion. But I told him my success, and he didn't really care about it. He was like, I still advise you to get back on methotrexate. And I'm like, are you fucking retarded or something? And again, my frustration is more of the system, not the individuals that are in the system. But sometimes I'm just like, also that, or sometimes in my head I'm thinking, dude, you have a brain. Could you not see that what you're doing is not actually saving lives? Let me rephrase that. It might be saving lives, but it's not allowing lives to thrive. All right? I can say this with 200% confidence. 200% confidence. If you put the knowledge that I've accumulated over these years, if you put my knowledge, me, up against your average GI in America, and we're given the same budget and allocations to put, let's just say, 3 people in remission and they're in terrible, dire need of help, I can say with 200% confidence that I will be able to put them in remission. I'm not going to say cure. I'm going to put them in remission through natural means and with far less expenses and money. I can say that without a doubt. I literally had a doctor reach out to me a long time ago. I believe he's a doctor, some type of doctor. His daughter had Crohn's. And so that doctor was an acquaintance of someone I knew, I think. And he reached out to me for advice. That's the funny thing. Now, to this day, in the past 10 years, I've had one flare-up that's Crohn's related, and that was in 2024. And what did I do? I just went on a liquid diet for 5 days, and my symptoms went away. Simple as that. Now, currently, if you know me, you know I'm still dealing with chronic issues. I'm dealing with different things now, but I do believe that at the end of the day, everything really is interconnected. That's how I feel about chronic issues. I think all my shit goes down to maybe when I was born. I mean, there's so many factors. This is a whole different topic, but I do believe that Hippocrates' quote basically sums up every single chronic issue for the most part in this day and age, which goes like, illnesses do not come upon us out of the blue. They arise from daily sins, from an accumulation of daily sins against nature. Once enough sins have accumulated, illnesses will suddenly appear, right? I made a video on that topic. That's a whole different story, but I do believe most chronic issues, that sums up everything. And some of those sins might not even be your fault. They could be passed down from generations. You could have been born from a C-section, and now your gut and microbiome is fucked to a degree. I've seen plenty of anecdotes like that. I even talked to a lady where she had 2 kids. One of them was born really healthy, really well. The other one, she had to get a C-section. And why did she have to get a C-section? I don't know for sure, but she was on birth control while she was pregnant. You know what I mean? That's not a smart thing to do. And that child has a lot more health problems than the other one. So it's not really hard to put 2 and 2 together, just using logic and critical thinking. I don't need studies. I don't need, quote unquote, what science says. If I listen to science, I'd be on my deathbed right now, or at the very best chance, I would be living a very mediocre life, feeling awful every single day. Right now, yeah, I'm dealing with chronic shit, and sometimes it's rough. The stuff that I'm dealing with, it's a little bit different though, but I am slowly figuring it out after all these years. I've been making some progress. And I'm able to at least live my life, man. So I think the medical industry is slowly changing, which is amazing. It's good to hear. And people are getting more awareness. And unfortunately, there's also getting a lot of backlash. I'm not going to deny there's a lot of grifters in the whole health space and all that, but there's a lot of truth as well. There's a lot of truth. And I think the best thing anyone can do is just become their own doctor. Experiment, figure out what works for you. Because what works for you will not work for someone else necessarily. Sure, there's fundamental things that we should all be doing day to day, like getting sunlight, grounding, getting good sleep, eating natural whole foods. If you're going to have junk food, quote unquote, make sure it's like a good quality junk food. Like, for example, when I have junk food, I'll have Boulder chips that are, cooked in avocado oil. So I'm a little bit more careful about, like, if I'm having junk food, get food from brands you trust, things like that. And I know everyone in the medical industry, it's not their fault, man. It's just the system, okay? It's just the system. And I have seen a lot of people in the industry waking up too and realizing what they're doing isn't really actually helping people, just making it worse. But I have so much respect for ER doctors, for people in the ER, for trauma surgeons. Like, that shit, oh my God, that's insane. America's the best at that. But when it comes to chronic shit, no. God, no. You are so much better off becoming your own doctor and figuring out shit by yourself. And it isn't until shit hits the fan that people realize that that is the truth. There'll be people from the sidelines, like, supporting Big Pharma and all that, and they haven't been through anything. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. You don't know what it's like at all. I don't want to hear it, But I don't want to make this too negative. It's just, I'm just so glad I had an awakening 10 years ago. And I've had these same stances for 10 years now. Now, what I believe health-wise, it's considered a very political extremist thing. It's really sad. And I don't give a fuck about politics. I don't pay attention to it. I know it's a very privileged position to be in. I don't want to get into all that. But when it comes to health, man, that I care about that. Because if you don't have health, you have nothing. There's that famous Confucius quote that I love so much. A healthy man has 1,000 desires. A sick man just has one. Simple as that. When you go through something traumatic, like health related, you really realize what actually matters in life. And it's always the simplest things, man. It's going on that walk. It's looking at the sunset. It's having a conversation with your mother or your loved ones or your friends. It's playing board games together. It's really the simplest shit. It's having the opportunity to maybe exercise or create something, create art. It's not like being super rich, and there's nothing wrong with that, but my God, the things that really matter are basically free to us. But God, my snot. I don't want to ramble on too much, but yeah, man, 2016 was a rough year for me, even though it's still a fun year too. But it was pretty rough during the middle of it. So yeah, if you're going through chronic shit, just know there's an answer for it, because there's always cause and effect. If something caused it in the first place, granted, it's not like a child defect type thing or something that's irreversible. I'm talking about chronic issues that develop over time. If it's something that developed over time, it can be reversed. It's just a matter of finding the answers for it. Like right now, the shit I'm dealing with, it's a bit complicated. It's a systemic thing that I'm dealing with, but I've been getting answers. And I know I'll be at my peak at some point if I keep at it. So, and one last thing I will say is, it's also important to not to overthink about health stuff too much, because I'm guilty of that. Just remember that you don't need every single supplement, biohacking tool, and all that shit. That's not how health is supposed to be like. It's really not. So yeah, man. And remember, this too shall pass. Whether it's good or bad, it'll pass. It'll fucking pass. Anyway, maybe I'll make more of these videos. It's kind of fun. It's really cozy here. It's kind of cold but cozy at the same time. Shout out Elwood Clothing, bro. Everything I'm wearing is Elwood right now, except my shoes and my beanie. But whew, yeah.